Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Kringle Kim, and it's Saturday, October 13th, 2018. And there is very much going on in the world and within our Kringle community. Excuse me. We must always remember that what our mission here is. And Kringle is a private digital currency embraced by the billion coin community. For our private agreement, Kringle has a significant value today and will only increase in value with each new member that joins us. Kringle is completely detached from the public coin market and this currently established scarcity-based monetary system. Kringle is based on abundance, not on artificial scarcity. Those who choose to join the TBC community understand the TBC vision and mission of reaching 1 billion members and ending poverty globally. They are also understanding that in order to achieve our objectives, our members must be proactive in learning from our educational blog and sharing Kringle via our cash flow system. Together, we can all achieve abundance for all. Excuse me. I'm sorry I'm a little late tonight. It's Saturday night here in Arizona, and we were invited to a luau here in Arizona. Of course, I used to live on Caribbean Lane in Arizona. Never thought I would live on the ocean in the middle of a desert. Anyway, it was a wonderful thing. Friends of ours at our Hawaiian have opened a dance school in our town, and they teach hula, and they teach all the dances from all the different Polynesian islands. So we were treated to a luau, and we were also treated to dancing and the fire dancer too. You know, he swallowed the fire. He had 2 different flaming batons. He did all kinds of gymnastics and contortions with the fire. And of course, we were supposed to have it outside. Finally, beautiful weather here. But it decided we actually got 2¼ inches of rain today from, I believe it's Hurricane Sergio coming up through the Sea of Cortez between Baja, California and Mexico proper. So anyway, it was quite a fun time and a show, and the fun went on later than I thought. So anyway, it was a very positive thing. I met lots of people who want to be future TBCians and Kringlers, and sharing it. So the blog the last couple days has been full of, we do have the public announcement, and we have the new Kringle mission statement. So I encourage you to go and read both of those. They are on the blog, which is under the Education tab in the Kringle Cash Back Office. And also there have been several videos about the current, a lot of it has to do with what's going on in the United States. And as I know from friends around the world, what we do here in the United States actually affects the whole world. And I know before our last election here in the United States for president, I heard from several people that they were praying for the American people to make the right choice, because what choice we make here is actually affecting them also. And the other thing that was interesting about them is they were getting information. They were getting information on their TV and news, radio, and everything that we weren't getting here, even though it was happening here. So they were getting what I would call news that we used to get back in the 60s and 70s, where it was fact-based news. They told you if it was going to be opinion news, but otherwise you you received the facts every night, especially during the Vietnam War. Some of it was gruesome, but we received the facts, and even as children, we understood them, and we were all able to decide for ourselves. Of course, we didn't have the internet then, so it was a lot probably harder to research. But you know, you received the facts. You made up your own opinion. So, and then that brings us to I know there was several things that happened this week in here in the United States, which does affect the whole world. The main thing being Facebook. And Facebook, the one video, the blog from today, October 13th, 2018, was about how Facebook took down 559 political pages. And of course, they were the conservative political pages, not necessarily the liberal political pages. And of course, we are having big elections here in the United States on, I believe it's November 6th. And I should check that date for sure. I just received my mail-in ballot. Yes, it's November 6th. So it's going to be a very important election like the one we had in 2016, determine where the course of the United States and the direction it will take. And also on October 10th, the stock market did go down. Now we can say, you know, it was a correct. And I know a correct was going to happen. I have said that for many years, that a correct was going to happen. And of course, there was a thing, you know, on the internet and stuff, they said something, the big bankers were going to do something on October 10th, 2018. And of course, that did happen. I wouldn't say it was much of a correct, because the stock market has gone up so high the last couple of years since we've had a new president. But again, to me, it is all about manipulation, and why TBC Kringle is so important. Years ago, before YouTube changed how to do YouTube around, I did do a YouTube video, totally unrelated to this, but related to what I used to do, about the power of 9. And that brings in the Federal Reserve. So one of the videos you can watch on the blog, there is a plan to end the Fed and the deep state. Are you aware of it? Now, this is something I've been aware of for years. During our last presidential term, first, if you watch the video, they will explain this, but first you have to know that the Federal Reserve is not owned by the government. The U.S. government, it is not. The U.S. government oversees it, but it is not owned by the U.S. government. It is owned by the big banks. So therefore, it is a privately owned entity with unelected officials determining the future of our economy. Basically, they have more power than our Senate. They have more power than our, judicial branch. They have more power than our executive branch. And this is what they have been doing. They started doing it with the blessing of our past president. But I digress. Let me go back. It was formed in 1913. And that's also when Americans started paying IRS taxes. And it's basically was based on gold at the time, but it was a way for the big banks to control the money flow. And that brings us up to say the last, I'm trying to remember when it started. I would say it started in earnest about 8 years ago. And at that point, they were trying to manipulate the money system here. Even so in 1971, our President Nixon took the gold, took our money off the gold standard. So it's not valued by gold anymore in the United States. It's true fiat currency. And that was a cool thing I learned since being in TVC Kringle, that fiat meant, you have faith in the currency your country's using and nothing else, because it may not be worth anything else. And we know that from the Great Depression that also occurred here in the United States. My dad actually was born during the Great Depression, and that was most of his childhood. And I hear stories all the time about how hard it was, just his dad even made him shoes out of, he used to get the Velveeta cheese in a square box, and those were his shoes, or the women made the dresses out of the potato sacks and the flour sacks. They all had gardens in their yard. They all hunted. I'm sure there were more forests there. My father didn't live in an urban area, but they hunted for their food. They grew their own food. And he talks about it to school kids now, and I don't think many of us, including myself, even understand they were truly, truly surviving. So, and that again was a manipulation of, the banking system and the stock market, and a little bit of greed too, a lot of greed. So anyway, I guess to get back to what I was saying, back probably 5 or 6 years ago, I did a video on how it's called The Power of Nine. And of course, I just said the Federal Reserve is not owned by the government. It has an overseer from the government that is appointed by the president, but it is not owned by the government. It's owned by the big banks. And what started happening was, and this again was to, I think, control the global economy, is that many of you who had savings account at that time realized, we used to get 2, 3, 4, 5% interest on our savings account, maybe even higher. And then all of a sudden, all our interest that we would get on a savings account went down to like 0.05%. You make 5 cents a month on, $1,000. And this is really, truly, they were trying to control us. So it didn't pay to save money. At the same time, the credit card interest is, phenomenally high. At least, well, some are 2 to 3%, but most are 15%, and some are 27, 28%. And so they're kind of squeezing us from both sides. So it doesn't pay to save money, because you're not going to, well, if you can put it in the bank, but you're not going to make any money from it. At this point, Wall Street is really what I call the big boys. There are long-term investments, there are short-term investments. If you had a 401k and you put it in a low-risk investment, you probably didn't lose everything. But if you put it in the stock market or in a high-risk investment, you probably did not do too well in 2000 or 2008. And this is the Federal Reserve is manipulating the money. So 8 years ago, they started printing money. They just started printing. I think the amount was $40 billion a month, and I call it funny money. And this $40 billion was just printed a month, and they put it out in the economy. And I guess the good thing was for people who were going to buy houses, the interest rate was really low. But then on the other side, you couldn't make any money on your savings or anything, so people weren't saving. So it was kind of a double-edged sword. But basically, they were putting this $40 billion and they would print it with nothing behind it except the cost of the paper and the ink, and they would give it to a bank. And this is where the power of 9 comes in. So they would hand the money out to the banks, and so say one bank took $1 billion. At that point, that bank can loan out 90%. I'll say 100, 90% of that $1 billion. So here, they do that. All they have to keep in the bank is 10% of that money. So they loan it out to another bank. Now that bank only has to keep 10% of the money in their bank. So bank number two only has to keep 10% of that money in their bank. And they can loan out 90% of what they received to yet another bank. And then that bank number 3 only has to keep 10% of that money in their bank. So we start out with 100%. The bank 2, and bank 1 loans out 90%. Now bank 2 has 90% of that and loans out, keeps 10% of that 90%. So let's say they own, we'll just keep it rounded off. But anyway, they loan out 80% to another bank, and so forth and so on. That's why I call it the power of the 9. So by the time you get to the end, this $40 billion of funny money per month equals about $360 billion of funny money per month. That was flooding our economy, artificially keeping the interest rate low, and really causing a lot of harm to our economy. This has, I think this is where this video is coming in now. The fact that we have a $21 trillion debt is really irrelevant. There's no reason they couldn't print up $21 trillion of money. It's all fake and, hand it out to wherever. But it would ruin not only our U.S. currency, but the global currency. And that has always really worried me that, there is going to come a correction to this, no matter who won the president in 2016. If the presidential election here had gone the other way, there already had been a horrible correction. Our current president, I think he's a businessman, and people can say what they want, but this country is a business, and he understands what's going on. And there is actually no reason to keep the Federal Reserve. As far as a government entity, our government could print their own money and have it backed by gold if they wanted to. So the Federal Reserve is only a way for the big banks really to make money, and a lot of people that participate in it. So that video is really good at understanding. It explains it better than I am. But I'm just saying, I do agree with the video. There has, if we are going to truly change what's happening in the United States, the Federal Reserve is part of it. And the other one, so, make sure you go to that. It's on the educational blog. And again, those of us that live in the United States, I have to let you know, those people that live in these other parts of the world are counting on us to do our research and make the right decision even in our election this fall. Because right now, the US dollar is the standard for the global currency. And what has been happening is to cause the US dollar to fail. So that no longer our global currency would be the dollar, it would be something else, the Chinese yuan or something like that. Well, at that point, our economy would fall apart. And I think that has been the plan in the past. But our president is trying to make the economy good again. And then there was a saying in the one video that I really liked. It was in the blog where it says, "We can stop what is coming if enough of us stand up and embody our free power and speak up." And of course, I've heard this many times. Step up, stand up, speak up, and embody your true power. Because the only way evil will triumph is if good men do nothing. And I feel TBC Kringle is good men doing something. All of us are in this community together, and we are creating, admin has created something new, and we are the ones implementing, sharing it. And that brings us to, the massive distribution, the massive growth that we're doing, the cash flow system. So the massive growth system, the cash flow system, and later on the merchant adoption system. And I really do not only encourage you, but implore you to watch all the videos the last few days on the blog this last week, so that you can be informed, because this is what's going on in the world, and this isn't what our media in the United States is reporting on. To me, it doesn't even pay to watch most of it, because they're reporting their opinions, and I don't really care about any of their opinions unless it's going to help our country. And in fact, I think they have been terrible examples to the future of our country, children of our country. Well, they're children now, but the future adults of our country and the future adults of the world. There's so much going on in the world, and they're not actually reporting what they should be. They're not informing us. So we have to go other places to be informed. And unfortunately, with Facebook just took down 559 sites that could have given, been our informative sites that could have given the other side of the story that we do not hear. I guess we won't hear it on Facebook anymore. And we haven't been hearing it, I would say, on 99% of the TV or internet information that we can get. And actually, the man in that video says this would be his last time on Facebook and his last YouTube video. And I think it is coming to that. I have had a couple problems with my YouTube videos, and I'm wondering if it's, what I am talking about. It has nothing to do with TBC Kringle, but maybe they just don't like my name or whatever. So let's all go out and be positive, patient, persistent, and sharing and caring. And if you do see or someone, they don't have the right information in a really caring and loving way, please inform them of the truth. Share some of these videos with them, even if they don't accept the TBC Kringle gift. Like it says, evil will triumph if good men do nothing. And for a long time, there's been a silent majority here in the United States. Our silent majority, I don't think, is becoming that vocal, but they are showing up to vote. And like I said, it's good to stand up and speak up, embody your true power, but in a loving and caring way. Please don't lower yourself to the level of what we're seeing on TV most of the time. It really saddens me. We ask our children not to be bullies. I know in schools, if they are a bully, they are suspended from school. However, what is going on TV? What is it that they're seeing? That is the example as they're seeing. So how can we expect the children, the future of our country, do as I say, but not as I do? makes no sense at all. It's kind of hypocritical. So we must stand up, speak up, and embody our true banner in a very respectful, caring way. I don't want to lower myself to the level of others that don't respect me or other people in this country or in the world. So I hope on a positive note that you will go watch the videos and be informed, and have a wonderful Sunday. And God bless you all. This is Kringle Kim signing off. Good night.